The exhilaration of the Cardinals' remarkable drive to a World Series championship has now faded. The focus is on the present as the 2012 Redbirds look to defend their title, and it begins this weekend against their division rivals, the Milwaukee Brewers. Fired up for the return of baseball here on Fox, a rematch of last year's National League Championship Series from Miller Park. The St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. And hi again, everybody, alongside Eric Karros. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to our 17th year of Major League Baseball here on Fox. We're not even 3 games into the season yet, and you look at these two teams, and Eric, there is an extraordinary amount of things that we're going to be talking about today.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot here, Tom. First of all, the world champion St. Louis Cardinals, they've got a new manager. Gone is Albert Pujols to the Angels. And today we see Adam Wainwright, probably the best pitcher in the National League in 2009, 2010. This is his first start in over a year and a half coming back from Tommy John surgery. And he's going against the Brewers, who finished 6 games ahead of the Cardinals last year. Ryan Braun, an eventful offseason, appealed successfully a 50-game suspension. He said it's taken its toll mentally and emotionally. Gone, Prince Fielder, production and protection. He's taken his talents to Detroit. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens.
I'm out of breath already just listening to you.
I got to lay down.
Well, last year it was the Cardinals indeed who had the last laugh as World Series champions, beating the Brewers in the LCS. Oh, the names may have changed, but this rivalry is very much alive. The start of a new year. The Cardinals and the Brewers are right around the corner. You're watching Major League Baseball on Fox. Number 2 for the Brewers, already game number 3 for the Cardinals. And let's take a look at Mike Matheny's starting lineup for the Redbirds, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Rafael Furcal leads off at shortstop. One of the newest Cardinals, Carlos Beltran in right, Matt Holliday in the 3-hole replacing Albert Pujols. He'll play left. Lance Berkman now at first base. David Freese, a postseason hero from a year ago at third, with Yadier Molina catching. And a latter third of John Jay, Daniel Descalso, and Adam Wainwright. Our opening pitch on this Saturday brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Getting to start a 16-game winner a season ago. Zach Greinke, a free agent at the end of the year. A 16-game winner, as we mentioned. And the scouting report on this very talented 28-year-old right-hander.
Well, he's a strike thrower, and that's important today. Remember, yesterday, the Brewers walked 7 Cardinal hitters. Also, Zach Greinke, 11-0 as a Milwaukee Brewers starter at home. Has never lost at home. He hopes to continue that today.
Of course, these two teams battled 6 games in the last year's National League Championship Series. The Brewers won 96 games, a franchise record, third most, in fact, in all of baseball. And the Cardinals had that extraordinary run just to get into the playoffs. First pitch swinging for a call on the ground at Ricky Weeks. 1 pitch, 1 out, and we're underway. Take a look at the defense for Milwaukee, brought to you by Scott's. Nyjer Morgan gets a start in center field after Carlos Gomez did yesterday. Aramis Ramirez comes over from the Cubs to play third. Matt Gamble takes over for fielder at first. And a battery of Lucroy and Greinke. Now Carlos Beltran. Beltran hit his first home run as a St. Louis Cardinal yesterday. They had 4 in the 12-5 victory. Of course, the Cardinals opened the Major League Baseball season, at least the North American version of the baseball season, on Wednesday night at Marlins Park, getting a win there. Had a day off on Thursday before starting this weekend series and making Mike Matheny 2-0 as a Major League manager. Of course, Cardinal fans used to see this kind of result going back to that league championship series when Beltran was playing for Houston. He turned that series into a monster deal with the Mets, and now comes over after finishing last season with the Giants.
Well, and interesting, that highlight we just saw, that was a 3-0 pitch that Beltran swung at and hit out of the park. And why it was interesting, his previous at-bat, 3-0 against Gallardo, he took a belt-high strike, ended up walking, but it didn't get him twice.
2-2. Fouled away. Well, the question was asked time after time after time after Pujols signed that deal to leave St. Louis and go to the Angels. How would they replace him? Well, this is one of the guys they're clearly leaning very heavy on in Carlos Beltran. Two out.
You know, you talk about replacing Pujols, and I don't think it's going to lay on the shoulders of just one Cardinal. I think everybody has to improve their game, and I think guys will play better. David Freese, I think, took it to another level in the postseason last year. He can expand upon that during the season. I think for Call, he's going to add a lot to this offense. So is it possible to replace him? Collectively, I think it is.
Well, you really go back to 2001, and that was the year that Pujols came up from the minor leagues to join the major league club, and almost exclusively has occupied that number 3 spot in the batting order. Well, at least to begin this year, Matt Holliday tries to fill that void. Of course, he's built an outstanding career of his own, a batting champion with Colorado, a 5-time All-Star, had some injuries which took down his numbers last year. But he is still one of the more lethal bats in the league.
Well, he really is. And this is a guy that's had 7 consecutive years of a plus 500 slugging percentage. Is anybody in this lineup going to be Albert Pujols? No. But again, they don't have to be.
Greinke makes quick work of the Cardinals in the opening inning. 1-2-3 with a pair of strikeouts. Ryan Braun and the Brewers come to bat in a moment. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Ricky Weeks, Niger Morgan, Ryan Braun to start it. Aramis Ramirez in the cleanup hole. Corey Hart bats fifth. Matt Gamble bats sixth. A ladder third of Alex Gonzalez, Jonathan Lucroy, and Zach Greinke. First time since September the 24th, 2010, Adam Wainwright starts a major league game that is not spring training. That's when he won his 20th game that year, his final start of the year. Missed all of last year after undergoing Tommy John surgery.
And right now, the most important thing for Adam Wainwright is to control his nerves. You know, he's got the butterflies, the adrenaline. Just as you mentioned, Tom, it's been over a year and a half. He's got to be efficient. I say be efficient. Throw strikes, because Mike Matheny will watch him closely and watch the pitch count.
Ricky Weeks coming off a 20-homer, 49 RBI season. His first year as an All-Star. Looks at ball one inside. Well, Eric mentioned it earlier. In 2009, Adam Wainwright was third in the National League Cy Young Award voting. A year later, in 2010, when he finished 20-11, he finished second. But you go all the way back to 2007, when he went into this Cardinals starting rotation after the year and a half of the bullpen. And his earned run average is the third lowest in all of baseball, under 3. And look where he ranked those 2 years, his last 2 years healthy. Two and two.
Well, he feels like he's all the way back. And I think if you leave it up to him, he'd tell you I could throw 9 innings. And it's really going to be up to the coaching staff, Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, to make sure you can temper Adam Wainwright.
First batter he faces, he gets him on strikes. Well, why not? The Cardinals' Adam Wainwright. First trip back on the mound, and picks up right where he left off.
You see that pitch just darting out of the zone. You know, and I think Adam Wainwright going against a team like the Brewers, it almost favors him because it's a free swinging ball club.
Well, after coming all the way back from Tommy John surgery, Adam Wainwright is indeed better, and that's brought to you by Mazda. Better, stronger, and smarter. And you got to believe, sitting out a year and watching, that'll make you smarter, understanding the art of pitching even more.
It should, and he's a very competitive guy. He has an opportunity to watch a guy like Chris Carpenter last year. And when you're sitting on the bench or sitting in the stands, the game happens a lot slower, and you're able to digest a lot more and learn more. Just as you mentioned, I think he's going to benefit from that year off.
Morgan slashes one into left center field and caught. 2 out. Cardinals stack up this way defensively. Brought to you by Scott's. John Jay will share some time in center field. Likewise for Daniel Descalso at second base with Tyler Green. They're hoping David Freese can play 100 games in a year for the first time. And listen to the ovation for Ryan Braun. Braun became the first major league player to have a positive drug test overturned when an arbitration panel ruled in his favor on appeal and decided against an initial 50-game suspension for the reigning National League Most Valuable Player. It really came down to a chain of custody issue where the test sample was supposed to be sent FedEx the day they took it. It didn't happen that way. At least that's the way an arbitration panel saw it after being tested last October during the playoffs. But now with that behind him, the question is, and you posed it early on, Eric Karros, as there's his first hit of this young season. It'll be a double down the left field line. How well will he handle it? It's one thing to listen to the cheers at home. It's another thing to hit the road.
Yeah, we spoke with Ron Renicky, the manager of the Brewers, and we asked him, well, what did he think was going to happen on the road? And they said, look, there are going to be people on him. And he mentioned a game in spring training where they played the Dodgers, and he said people were all over him, but that could also work to Ryan Braun's advantage where it fuels him. Look, he's a competitive guy, Ryan Braun. He's a very proud man. He's a National League MVP.
So now Aramis Ramirez came over from the Cubs, has had a rock-solid career. Home runs, RBIs. He's just a good all-around hitter.
He's another guy, though, that is going to have to help fill the shoes. It doesn't have to lay all on his shoulders to be Prince Fielder. He just needs to play like he has in the past. I think if he goes out there and tries to hit 40 home runs and 120 RBIs, you're going to have a season that's going to be 20 and about 70 with a ton of strikeouts and a ton of boos and all that sort of stuff. He is not a guy that can carry a club, but he is a very good complementary player, and that's what he needs to be.
Scoreless game, last of the first inning. 2 out with Braun at second base, and the 0-2 is a breaking ball away. Ramirez signed a 3-year deal to come to Milwaukee. 6 times in his career he's hit over 300. 9 times he's hit 25 or more homers. And last year was the 8th time he's knocked in 90 or more runs.
Hey, he's a guy that you may go to the park and you watch him, and he's, not a lot of energy, nonchalant, but every year, year in and year out, very consistent. You're going to get similar numbers, and one of the most productive players at third base.
Two and two. Those are the numbers for Aramis Ramirez. Over 1,100 runs driven in. Has eclipsed 300 home runs. That ranks among the top 10 all-time among third basemen. Does a chase off the outside corner. Corey Hart hoping for a chance here in the opening inning. Three-two pitch. Hitting over. So Wainwright, his first outing since September of 2010, a scoreless first inning. Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. All right, Eric Harrows, how about our 4 keys to the game?
Well, pretty simple here. Cardinals shut down the middle. That's what they did yesterday. Ryan Braun and Ramos Ramirez going 0 for 9. Brewers, you've got to keep it in the ballpark. The Cardinal Ball Club hit 4 home runs yesterday. Remember, last year, they led the National League in home runs on the road.
And a big reason why was this guy right here. Really, his career, maybe a stretch to say reborn, but certainly put himself right back in the middle of the conversation of being a league MVP again. He had a monster first half. He cooled off a bit in the second half, but then had some big hits like many others in the postseason. Lance Berkman.
Just a solid player. I mean, he's borderline Hall of Fame. A great switch hitter, comes to play, a smart player. He's one of those guys you can drive the ball out of the park, high on base percentage. You know, he's a real pain for pitchers to go after because he can foul a lot of pitches off, doesn't strike out a lot, has great power.
Check swing and a miss. That's 3 strikeouts consecutively for Zach Greinke.
Yeah, right now, if you see the game, the types of swings that the Cardinals are taking, you saw Holiday, you see Berkman right there. It tells you that Greinke has great stuff today.
Well, Mr. October indeed for the St. Louis Cardinals. David Freese, National League Championship Series most valuable player, World Series most valuable player. And he is raking again to start this year, already with 5 runs batted in. Has hits in over half at bats already. They're just hoping that David Freese can find a way to stay healthy and play an entire year. He's had all kinds of crazy injuries. Had the automobile accident 3 years ago. Had terrible injuries to both of his feet. Had a broken hand last year. He's never played more than 97 games in a major league season, and he's knocking on the door of his 29th birthday.
Yeah, he really is an excellent hitter, and the only thing that's kept David Freese from reaching stardom has been David Freese.
You go back to last year's postseason and to begin this year, his last 30 games, he's hitting .402 with 33 runs batted in. I don't know if anybody on the planet can get him out right now.
No, and what makes him such a good hitter is his ability to go the other way. You remember last year in the World Series, he hit that ball over Nelson Cruz's head in right field. But he's a guy that since 2011, he's got the highest opposite field batting average in baseball at .472. There's David. And what's nice about that is he's a young hitter. Not young in terms of age, but young in terms of experience. And he's disciplined enough to go the other way.
1-2 the count on Yadier Molina, and it's off the inside corner to even a count. Molina given a 5-year contract extension during spring training. He was honored as the best defensive player, what they call now the Platinum Glove, not the Gold Glove. The Platinum Glove for being the best defensive player among all the Gold Glove Award winners. There should be 2 here if they can hurry, and they do. by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buns. Bernie Brewer looking for a little action. Didn't have much to cheer about yesterday.
Now, Ron Renicky said it best. That was just bad baseball. It's tough to watch bad baseball. But remember, Brewers started, what, 0-4 last year? Ended up with 96 wins.
The amazing thing about starting the way they did last year, they opened the season on the road against division rival Cincinnati. In the first 2 pitches thrown on opening day, the Brewers hit into the seats for home runs. Normally, you hit the first 2 balls thrown for home runs, you're going to win at least 1 game. Well, what a job Ron Renicky did. Long-time right-hand man to Mike Scioscia in Anaheim. Finished second to Kirk Gibson for the National League's Manager of the Year award. That one is clobbered, and Bernie Brewer, time to jump on that slide.
This is a 2-0 fastball that you see misses location. See that extension right there. Corey Hart crushes. You talked about Bernie Brewer coming down the slide. He had to wait because he might have been hit right there. That ball was launched. That wasn't just a wall scraper.
Corey Hart missed all but the last 2 games of spring training. Very early on. Tore the meniscus in his knee, had surgery. And the final 2 spring training games he played were against the Diamondbacks. And now a home run to put his team in front 1-0. Matt Campbell had big numbers last year. They sent him to AAA at the end of spring training and said, you're going to be there all year long and learn how to play first base. Too early to say he's been a disappointment as a high draft pick, because he has plenty of time, still being so young, and now getting the chance to play to prove he was worth the pick.
Well, and as a young player, to know that you're going to be out there every day, that you're not looking over your shoulder, not thinking that every at-bat means I'm in the lineup tomorrow or I'm not in the lineup, it makes it a bit easier.
Straight away center field, John Jay backing up, out number 1. Let's go to our old buddy Matt Vasgersian for a DirecTV game break.
Tommy, another long one in Cleveland a day after playing 16 on their opening day contest. These 2 teams, the Indians and Jays, into the 12th. All Toronto in extra innings. Karros, if you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. 1-800-DirecTV.
I was thinking I got to get those brown shoes Matty's been sporting. Did you notice those today on the show?
I thought he looked very sharp.
He did.
I'll tell you, it's a big league pregame show. Our friends from the Major League Baseball Network, working hand in hand with Fox Sports, did a great job to kick off our season. Year number 17 of the Fox Saturday Game of the Week. Be with you through the League Championship Series, culminating again into the World Series. I don't know if you can get much better than last year's World Series.
I'll tell you, I had an opportunity to work that series and was out in left field in St. Louis for game 6 and 7. And I have never seen a game like 6. The excitement, the adrenaline, and I'm not even playing. I'm just sitting there watching. But I'll tell you, that was as good as there's ever been. You saw 2001, though, your Arizona Diamondbacks and New York Yankees. That was quite a World Series. Your Yankees and Diamondbacks back in 2. There was a lot of excitement there.
Of course, a lot of people look back on that 75 series. That's the one they always compare everything else up against. 7-game series between Cincinnati and Boston. I know one thing. You look back on that World Series and you look at some of the players that were in the lineup for those 2 teams. Man, oh man. Hall of Famer after Hall of
Freddie
Famer.
Lynn and Jim Rice, Rose Morgan bench.
Breaking ball, and no, he didn't go around.
Shoot, were you a little guy running around then or not?
Oh, yeah. Better believe
Your dad calling the game?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't get much better than that. 3-2 to count on Gonzalez. Played last year with Atlanta. He's gone swinging. Game 6, 2011 World Series. Indeed, one of the greatest of all time.
And now the Rangers are 1 strike away. Into right, well hit. It's off the wall. Freeze has tied it. Unbelievable. They just won't go away. Freeze hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
Great calls there by Joe Buck, of course, quoting his late great father, Jack Buck, on that home run call to send it to a 7th game.
Yeah, that was the call in the 1991 World Series. Twins and Braves.
Kirby Puckett home run, right?
Yep. One of those things you can't really explain. Game 6, you had to experience it. Fortunate enough to experience it.
1-1 to Lucroy, and a bouncer for a call. Hitting over. But the Brewers jump in front. A solo home run by Corey Hart to start it. We go to the 3rd, 1-0. Sponsored by Chevrolet. One nothing Brewers thanks to a Corey Hart home run in the 2nd inning. Cardinals come to bat in the 3rd. Zach Greinke's allowed 1 hit, fanned 3, not walked a batter, faced the minimum through the first 2. So 7, 8, and 9 in the battery. John Jay, Daniel Descalso, and then Adam Wainwright. Strike 1, says Laz Diaz, our home plate umpire. Ed Hickox at first, Ed Rapuano at second. And Corey Blazer working at 3rd. Angel Hernandez, a home plate umpire here yesterday, having to leave and He'll visit his father, who we understand is not doing well in Florida, but certainly our thoughts and prayers and get well wishes come your way, Mr. Hernandez. And we'll look forward to having your son back with us sometime soon. Descalso 2 for his first 7 to begin the year. It's so odd to look down in that Cardinal dugout, whether it be sitting here at the ballpark or for those of you watching at home, I'm sure especially so for Cardinal fans, but really all baseball fans, and no longer see the presence of Tony La Russa in that Cardinal dugout. 16 years, 9 times took them to the postseason, 7 league championship series, 3 World Series, winning twice, including last year. And now Matheny, who hails from Reynoldsburg, Ohio, just outside of Columbus, Ohio. He's a Buckeye through and through. Originally came up with the Milwaukee Brewers, wound up playing for the Cardinals, where he won 3 of his 4 Gold Gloves, won another for San Francisco. I'll spend a little bit of time with the Blue Jays, but 13 seasons in the major leagues, and at 41 he is the youngest manager in all of baseball. Well, he was one hard-nosed, outstanding catcher.
Well, and that's what he was known for, his toughness, his smarts, and as he told us before the game in the meeting, he said, look, I had to be a cerebral guy. I had to be aware of everything that was going on. I had to put myself in a position to succeed because I wasn't more talented than anybody else. But what he would do is he would outwork everybody and he would outsmart everybody. And that's why he's got a chance to be an excellent manager in the big leagues.
Of course, his season came, or his career rather, came to an abrupt halt because of all the concussions he suffered. And he was talking about some very, very dark days and some very, very dark months in his life where he had a hard time focusing on a single task. He'd get in the car, he was telling us, be driving to go somewhere. He'd have to call his wife and say, where am I going? Got to a point he had to write it down. I'll tell you, in a day and age where you hear about it so much from a football perspective, Mike Matheny might be the first guy that we heard about concussions and their long-term effects from a baseball perspective.
He said very similar to what a lot of people are familiar with in Alzheimer's, where you just forget, you don't remember what you're doing. You can be in mid-sentence and just forget your train of thought. But he says that the best thing that happened to him is just to get away from the game. And when I say get away, I mean not playing. He said he feels as good as he's ever felt.
A 1-2-3 third for Greinke. Brewers lead after 2.5, 1-0. Fan guide to register for a chance to win a VIP experience for two to a 2012 Major League World Series game. And download your favorite team's schedule presented by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Great to have you with us this opening weekend of a Major League season. Everybody at it today. Is first Saturday of April as we celebrate Easter weekend tomorrow. Adam Wainwright allowed a double with 2 outs to Braun in the first inning, and then a home run to Corey Hart leading off the second. He is fanned 2 and not walked about. Your impression early on?
He's been decent. The velocity isn't what it will be, and I think the location isn't what he would like it to be. That pitch to Corey Hart clearly missed his spot. Curveball's been pretty decent. Like I said at the beginning, this is a tough gauge, though, because the Brewers they're a free swinging ball club. They're a team that's going to get out there and not take a lot of pitches, not historically going to make you work, especially now with the absence of Prince Fielder.
Third strikeout of the game for Wainwright. Let's check in again. A direct TV game break. Here's Matt Vasgersian.
Tom, the Red Sox walked Miguel Cabrera 3 times on opening day. Josh Beckett pitched to him early, and Miguel Cabrera got him. Call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. 1-800-DirecTV. Brown shoes are my thing, Charles. Get off.
You just got to tell everybody that you've got 3 pair of brown shoes. Word is it's just 1 pair.
Now Boston, of course, much like Atlanta, a titanic historical collapse. Bobby Valentine, the new manager there. You know about Prince Fielder leaving the Brewers to go to Detroit, that mega deal. Your impressions of Bobby Valentine getting the chance to come back and manage in Major League Baseball again?
Well, he's as smart as anybody. There's no question about that. When the game, but managing now is not just strictly a strategic thing. It's about managing personalities, and I think you're talking about a veteran ball club, some guys that are set in their ways in Boston, some guys that have had a lot of success. And I think more than anything, more than any club in baseball, it's very important for the Red Sox, and specifically Bobby Valentine, to get off to a quick start.
A quick start here in the third for Adam Wainwright. Back-to-back strikeouts. And he has 4 now through 2 2/3 innings.
You see that ball just darting out of the zone. It's the second time that Wainwright has got weeks. Like I said, this is a Brewer ball club that is very aggressive.
Of course, Nigel Morgan has had some rather colorful words for Chris Carpenter and some of the Cardinal players going back to the regular season in 2011, carrying into the postseason. Tell you, this National League Central now, there are a lot of great division races and a lot of great rivalries, but you're talking about top to bottom. There are 4 or 5 teams in this division that don't like each other a little bit. The most documented historically, the Cubs and the Cardinals, although it's a very friendly rivalry. I had a chance to announce a Cubs game for 6 years and saw it. It is indeed a friendly rivalry. The Cubs and the Reds is a different ball game altogether, or rather the Cardinals and the Reds. Culminating in a fight a couple of years ago. And of course, you also build rivalries through good baseball. Reds were the division champs in 2010. Last year, the Brewers and the Cardinals colliding throughout the entire season. Chicago only about an hour-and-a-half drive south of here. So the Brewers and the Cubs are a very good rivalry as well.
Well, you talk about the rivalries. There are some rivalries, no question about it, but it's basically, for me, it's a 2-tiered division. You've got the Reds, Cardinals, and Brewers. They're playing for a division title. I said it before, the Cubs and the Astros and the Pirates, they're playing for fun. That's just the reality of it.
Cubs with another crushing loss today. That's 2 in a row where they had leads late and gave it up to the Washington Nationals. And again, Carlos Marmol, their closer who had so many problems last year, off to an extremely shaky start through the first 2 games this year. Foul ball. Three-two again to Morgan. Foot race to the bag. Wainwright wins it, and that is that. First perfect inning of the game for Adam Wainwright. We played 3 where the Brewers still lead by a run. Again, direct TV. Just outside of Miller Park, they have 3 statues outside this building. Hammer and Hank Aaron, the great Robin Yount, and baseball commissioner and longtime Brewers owner Bud Selig. In August, they will erect another statue of Hall of Fame radio voice and certainly one of the great characters in the history of the game in Bob Uecker. One pulled foul by for a call. Well, certainly our condolences go to the entire Uecker family. Steve Uecker, Bob's son, died yesterday in Milwaukee from complications related to an illness known as San Joaquin Valley fever. You often hear the Arizona version of Valley fever. He was 52 years young, survived by his mother Joyce, brother Bob Jr., sisters Sue and Leanne, several nieces. Saw Bob today and extended our thoughts and prayers and condolences. And after being with his son last night, he felt like he had to be at work today just to take that tragic loss off his mind. Well, what a guy Bob Uecker is.
He really is. I mean, when you think about baseball, and you've seen him in the movies,
TV show.
Yeah. Is that Mr. Belvedere?
Yep.
But more than anything, just a real personable guy. You know, always smile, a lot of energy, and I was surprised to see him here today.
Foul ball. For a call bounced out to the second baseman Weeks on the very first pitch thrown by Greinke in the game. Cardinals only have one hit. A one-out single by Freese in the second. And he was erased on a double play ball off the bat of Molina. Served into left field. One out. Once more, let's go to Matt Vasgersian at the Major League Baseball Network studios for a game break.
Tommy, just a little south of you guys down I-94. The Nationals score 5 in the 8th at Wrigley to get off to a 2-0 start. Cubs 0-2. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. 1-800-DirecTV.
And we mentioned that a little bit earlier, that the Cub bullpen, first 2 games of the season, have let leads get away. They'll try a little roller handled by Greinke. 2 out. Well, speaking of those Chicago Cubs, Fox Saturday Baseball next weekend. Eric, you and I will be in St. Louis as they renew that great rivalry. Some will see Albert Pujols going to new Yankee Stadium. Angels and the Yanks. Others, the Rangers and the Twins. 12:30 Eastern start time next week, 9:30 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area.
Well, you were talking earlier that it is a historic rivalry, the Cubs Cardinals, but as you mentioned, a friendly one, almost a festive rivalry. Had an opportunity to play in it. And you'd see, you know, the crowd in Chicago, there'd be a lot of red, there'd be a lot of blue. After the game, though, I'll tell you, everybody's mingling in the bars together. Looking forward to that next week. The game, not the bars, Tommy.
Well, nothing wrong with hoping for a little of both of those. Two down, none on. 2-0 on Holiday, who struck out his first time up. Fastball right down the middle, a called strike. Mentioned Greinke, a free agent at season's end. Came up originally with Kansas City. Had some off-field issues for a year. Came back, pitched brilliantly. Came to Milwaukee last year. He was unbeaten at home. He's faced the minimum through 3.5 here today and has a 1-0 lead. So that thing just kept
It
going
took
and
off,
going
yeah.
and going. Half of the fourth inning. A Corey Hart solo home run, the only run for either team. That was leading off the second inning. So Ryan Braun, Aramis Ramirez, and Corey Hart here in the Milwaukee fourth. Pleasure to be joined down in the dugout by Cardinals opening day starter and winner Kyle Loesch, a 14-game winner a season ago. Congratulations the other night.
Oh, thank you.
How was that new ballpark in Miami?
It was pretty fun to play in, a good atmosphere, and I thought it played pretty good for a pitcher, I think.
That was my next question. I know it's only one game, and they played with the roof open that night. But your initial impression, is more of a pitcher's park than a hitter's park?
Right now, I mean, it's too early to tell. I just felt like there was a couple balls Stanton hit off me that could have gone out of some parks. I'm not really sure exactly how far they went, but you never know how it's going to play over the course of the season. If the roof's closed, maybe it carries a little better.
Kyle, with Carpenter down for a bit, Wainwright coming back, do you feel any added pressure? Or do you feel like you've got to carry some more weight this year? Or?
No, I mean, last year we dealt with Waino being down, and I think we did all right. We had McClellan step in for a while, and then we went out and got Jackson, and guys just did a good job of picking each other up and carrying, kind of sharing the load, picking up the stuff that Wainwright could have done. And it's going to be kind of the same way right now early on when Carp's out. I think Lance Lynn's going to do a good job. He had a great spring, and just got to hold down the fort until Carp gets back here.
Yeah, Derek Lilliquist wasn't the official pitching coach last year, but he was around, obviously, in the bullpen, and then Dunk was away. What's the difference between him and Dave Duncan?
It's pretty similar. Lilly comes in with the same philosophy. We're not going to try to remake anything, try to change our approach or anything. We're just still going to be an aggressive pitching team down in the zone and try to get quick outs. So, other than the personnel, I think our philosophies are all the same.
3-2 to count on Ryan Braun, joined by Kyle Loesch, the Cardinals opening day starter and winner in Miami on Wednesday night. Saw the home plate umpire there, Laz Diaz, saying to Ryan Braun, come on, let's get moving here a little bit.
Yeah, I can't see. I got my back to him. A little nervous here.
And a breaking ball is in the dirt. Ball 4 to begin the fourth inning. First walk issued by Wainwright. Kyle, you go back. You originally came up at the big league level with the Minnesota Twins. You won 13 games in 02, 14 games in 03. Go to Cincinnati from there for a short time. And then Dave Duncan, since Eric has already asked you a little bit about him, I would imagine with your talent put together with perhaps some of his advice that you would owe a lot to Dave Duncan. Yeah, because you've had two of your better years in the major league since coming to St. Louis.
Yeah, he helped me out a lot just with the philosophy of what I'm trying to do out there. When I came up, I threw hard when I was young. A lot of four-seamers, a lot of belt high pitches that the other guys like to hit. And I came over, and one of the first things he talked to me about was we're going to use a two-seamer. We're going to sink it, move it around, and things just kind of opened up. It opened up my eyes to how I'm going to approach pitching, and it helped me out a lot, and I owe him a lot.
What about the managerial change? A different feeling around the clubhouse day in and day out? Not asking you if it's better or worse, but is it different?
It's definitely different. Like you said, it's not better or worse. It's just different. Tony brought that intensity. He was going to be prepared. Mike's the same way. He's very intense. He carries a lot of respect with a lot of the players. We see how he carried himself as a player, and we love playing for him so far, and I don't see that changing. He's a good guy.
Well, Kyle, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us down there in the dugout during the game and get back there and turn around, and so you're not a little shaky down there.
I'm nervous over here. I got right-handed pull hitters. I'm a little scared.
I don't blame you. Thanks for the time.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Kyle.
Al Loesch, so impressive at opener for the Cardinals in their win over the Marlins.
He really was. And you talk about him and Wainwright, Garcia, Lynn. It's not bad.
One and two on Aramis Ramirez. They're not quite sure about when Carpenter will come back. Had some neck issues that have filtered into his shoulder as there's a check swing and a miss. Aramis Ramirez disagrees with Laz Diaz. That's strikeout number 5 in the game for Wainwright.
Well, you see, Aramis doesn't like that, but he's probably right. If I'm up there hitting right there, I can't say that he went. Doesn't matter, though. Laz Diaz said he'd seen enough. That was that curveball, that off-speed pitch. Wainwright's throwing that pretty well today.
Well, he's only allowed 2 base hits. A double to Braun in the first inning. The long home run by the man who steps in there right now to lead off the second, Corey Hart. He just walked his first batter. Braun leading off this inning. Well, you talked about the distance of that home run. 447 feet, the second longest of Corey Hart's career. And that was a third home run for Corey Hart and 42 at bats against Adam Wainwright. Braun very much a threat on the bases, stole 33, was thrown out just 6 times last year. Joined Tommy Harper as the only 2 players in franchise history to put together a 30-30 year. 30 or more homers, 30 or more steals.
Yeah, you know, that surprised me, too. I thought Hall of Famer Robin Yount. I was reading that in the notes. Wow. Quite an accomplishment.
Robin Yount could have done anything. I'm not so sure he still couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
he's
right.
one of the most amazing athletes I've ever been around. Even now. Boy, what a player.
Out of Taft High School in Los Angeles, out in the Valley. Wasn't he right to the big leagues?
Yep. And an MVP as a shortstop and as a center fielder. But even now, you see him and makes his home out in Arizona. He's still with the Brewers and spends a lot of time with them during spring training especially. But at 50, whatever he is, he looks like he could be playing every day in the big leagues even now. There's that breaking ball. It fooled Hart. 2 away. Again, let's check in with Matt Vasgersian from the MLB Network studios for a game break.
You guys saw Corey Hart hit a long one in Milwaukee earlier. This is the Panda Pablo Sandoval, 5 for 12 with 2 dingers against his adversary Daniel Hudson. Got him again today.
Diamondbacks jumping all over Tim Lincecum to win the opener yesterday. Of course, the Giants making big news. Matt Cain, that 6-year extension. Those figure to be going into the year the top 2 teams in the division. Descalso, a beauty at second base. And that'll end the inning. Takes a hit away from Gamble. And we take it to the 5th. Still 1-0 Brewers. Saturday of the 2012 championship season. Cardinals in a boat race yesterday, lighting up Giovanni Gallardo. Different story today with Zach Greinke.
And it's really just an issue of control and hitting your spots. You saw the 5 walks yesterday issued by Gallardo, but you also needed to look at the 4 home runs, because I guarantee you those were all missed location. Greinke right now, he's hitting a fly in the the backside. That's how good he is.
1-1 to Berkman. He'll be followed by Freese and Molina. Well, yesterday continued a very distressing pattern for Brewer fans. Giovanni Gallardo 1-9 with an ERA of well over 6 against St. Louis, including the postseason last year. So against what many feel are the top 2 teams along with Milwaukee in the National League Central, Gallardo has struggled mightily against both St. Louis and Cincinnati.
Yeah, and it's been, I don't know if it's these teams have his number or if it's become mental for him. Or once things go off track, it just snowballs.
No on the appeal down to third. 2-2 to Berkman.
See Berkman holding up his swing. But again, this is Greinke has kept the Cardinal hitters off balance. Just haven't seen any good fluid swings. A lot of swing and misses. We haven't seen that line drive foul or that line out. He's basically having his way right now with this Cardinal lineup.
Well, they put the big shift on him defensively with 3 infielders playing between the first and second base bags. There you see Alex Gonzalez just to the first base side of second base. And he pulls it to the right side. Gamble feeds Greinke. We're very proud to announce during this Major League Baseball season on Fox, we're proud to support one of the great organizations in America, the Boys and Girls Club, a place where you can help youth reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Freese, the only base runner of the game for St. Louis. He had a single in the left field back in the second inning. Is there any way to describe, and you had many moments like this in your career, Eric Karros, as the Los Angeles Dodgers all-time leading home run hitter, where you get as hot as Freese, and you hear guys say all the time, well, the ball looks so big. I mean, is that true?
Well, it looks big, but everything seems to be happening very slowly, and that's when you get in the zone. And the trick is in any athletic endeavor is to get to that spot, because when things aren't going well, it's boom, boom, fast, go, can't react. It's going a mile a minute. And I think that people that are successful at, like I said, whatever athletic endeavor at the highest level, they can slow things down. And that's what David Freese is going through right now.
Freese thought it was ball 4. And generally when you're this hot, you're right.
Well, the thing is, though, Zach Greinke, it's hot versus hot right now, because Zach Greinke is able to throw the ball wherever he wants it. And because of that, Laz Diaz has opened up the zone a bit. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt. Saw Lance Berkman in his at-bat this inning. He stepped out and was having some discussion with Laz Diaz. Didn't like the zone. But as a hitter, when the zone opens up a little bit and you have a guy that's able to hit those spots, not a lot of fun. I don't care how hot you are.
Only the second 3-ball count to a batter today for Greinke. Slow roller. Ramirez. Not in time. And the beat goes on for Freese. Even when you dribble one down to third, it's a base hit.
Ramirez does a good job coming in and getting rid of it. Has him by about a half a step. And Hickox just misses it over there at first. It's early though. Freese hustling the entire time. He rolled that ball, got on top of it, so he was already getting out of the box. But that's the way he plays the game, hard all the time.
Of course, Freese, a hometown kid, went to Lafayette High School in Wildwood, Missouri. Initially started at Merrimack, Missouri Community College before transferring to the University of South Alabama. Originally drafted by the Padres and came over in the Jim Edmonds deal back in 2007. 0-2 to Yadier Molina. And now Molina giving Laz Diaz an earful.
Yeah, and very rarely will you see a catcher get on an umpire because he knows he's got to go back out there and he wants to get pitches for his guy on the mound. See, that's the thing though. Greinke though is hitting his spots, and he's shown great control. You know, and when he's throwing strikes today, it's not strikes right down the middle of the plate. It's strikes on the corner. It's up in the zone. It's down and away. There's different kinds of strikes to throw. He's throwing unhittable strikes.
Greinke ahead of Molina, 1-2. Wow. And when he does miss, fractionally, he's missing. Three and two. Well, Molina generally a guy who puts the ball in play. The Cardinals have had zero action, as you see outside of Freese. Perhaps we'll see Mike Matheny start a runner here with one out in the inning on a 3-2 pitch. Nope. In the air. Straight away center. Morgan with room. Back to the bag is Freese, and we go back to the MLB Network studios to Matt Vasgersian.
Tommy, Brewer fans look away. Prince Fielder's first home run in his new uniform moments ago against Josh Beckett, who has also been taken deep by Miguel Cabrera and Alex Avila. All Tigers early on, Tom. Back to you guys in Milwaukee.
Well, they might have to be turning away a lot.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, you've got two guys in Detroit right now that are guys that can carry a ball club. Like I said at the top of this show, there aren't very many of those in the major leagues, and you've got Cabrera and Fielder. And what those two will do for one another, how they'll complement one another, I think those two will be better than the Braun-Fielder combination that was here.
Do you really?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, Cabrera, for me, is probably one notch below Pujols. Maybe. That's how good a hitter he is.
And, you know, that's a big maybe.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, there are people that will tell you in baseball that Cabrera is the best hitter in baseball.
Yep. His numbers since initially coming up with the Florida Marlins, I mean, they are right there with anybody in the history of Major League Baseball in Miguel Cabrera. He's still in his late 20s.
Well, that's a scary thing.
2 now to John Jay. The zoom ball got away from Greinke there. 1-2.
Is that the zoom ball?
Heard like that from our old buddy Bob Brenly.
Zoom ball.
Yeah, when you're a catcher and all of a sudden you're down in squatting position and you're ready for one to be somewhere near the zone, and then zoom ball. There it goes.
Zoom ball. I learn something new every day.
It's interesting to know that Bob Brenly, speaking of rookie managers, and Mike Matheny here, as there's a liner that just chews up Weeks. That clearly had a lot of top spin on it, if not knuckling its way out to Weeks.
Yeah, the way he reacted, obviously that ball was doing something in the air. When you're out in the infield, there's two things that can really mess you up as an infielder. One is, you mentioned, that top spin. And I don't think it had top spin, but that's when that ball's coming at you. It just seems like it just drops at the last second. That looked more like it was probably a knuckleball,
okay.
And that's what it is. If you ever played catch with a guy throwing a knuckleball, but this is coming at you about 90 miles an hour. Not fun.
So the first threat of any kind in the game so far against Greinke. Number 8 batter Descalso on the ground to Weeks. Inning over. And to finish that thought about Bob Brenly, he was the last rookie manager to win a World Series. By Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. Well, they initially have given Ricky Weeks an error on a ball where he was nearly decapitated a moment ago.
Yeah, I got to believe that's a hit. I know if Ricky Weeks is out there and reacts like that, that ball had an awful lot of movement in the air.
And they can't change it. Frequently they do change it. So here we go, bottom of the 5th inning. Brewers 1, Cardinals nothing. The only run came on a solo blast to left field by Corey Hart, leading off the 2nd inning. Alex Gonzalez starts the 5th, and Vercall throws him out.
Yeah, when he goes down like that, because there would have been no reason for him to go down, he loses the ball either in the stands or it's got some movement. Either way, as hard as that ball's hit, in my book, that's a hit.
Jonathan Lucroy grounded out for a call, his only time up today. So here we are, Adam Wainwright. First time on the mound in a major league game since September the 24th, 2010 at Wrigley Field, when he got his 20th win that year. A season which saw him finish second in the Cy Young Award balloting. Last year, a lost year to Tommy John surgery. And in recent years, there have been some guys that have come back their first year and had very good seasons after Tommy John. Tim Hudson won 17 games his first year back. And then a couple of teammates for Wainwright. Jaime Garcia finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting after coming back from the injury in his minor league career. And then Chris Carpenter, a 17-game winner and an ERA at very low twos his first year back. And Wainwright with a 1-2-3 fifth. 5 pitches for Wainwright. Today. And by Scott's Turf Builder Lawn Food. Feed your lawn. Feed it. Each pitcher working on a 2-hitter at the end of 5. But one of the 2 hits for the Brewers produced the game's only run, a home run by Corey Hart in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, Greinke's thrown well. He struggled a bit last inning. Threw over 20 pitches. I think if you're going to get him, you're going to get him this inning. I mean, not only did he labor last inning, but he came in, only was sitting down for 5 pitches and had to get right back out there.
First pitch, breaking ball to Wainwright. Struck out his first time up. Ball 1. Wainwright, a good hitter. .223 career average. Has 5 career home runs. Greinke part of an entire starting rotation which returns from a divisional championship team from a year ago. In fact, all 5 Brewers starters for the first time since they last played in a World Series in 1982 had double-digit win totals. Now, there have been some changes down in that bullpen. Takashi Saito gone. LaTroy Hawkins gone. Those guys primarily held things up in the 7th inning. And bear in mind, after the 4th of July last year, the Brewers did not lose another game when they had a lead from the 7th inning on for the remainder of the season. So they brought in Jose Veras to take over that role in the 7th. Rodriguez in the 8th, Axe for the 9th. And Wainwright gone. Well, the MLB Fan Cave is back, and this year 9 cave dwellers will attempt to remain in the cave until the final pitch of the World Series. Some of the biggest stars have stopped by and more scheduled to stop by. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like LIKE on Facebook. I got to go check that place out when we roll into New York. I think you're going to be doing a game with me in New York, aren't you? Later in the summer?
You know, I haven't seen that on the schedule, Tommy. You got to call me and let me know how it is, though. Are we in New York? I don't think we're in New York. You might be in New York.
Maybe we'll find a way to get you out there. One and one on for a call. It was grounded to second, fly to left. Aramis Ramirez tucked in a step or two on the grass at third.
And I think this is the guy that's going to be key for this Cardinal offense. You know, we keep talking about how is Pujols going to be replaced and what's the offense going to be like. Rafael Furcal at the top of this lineup. A switch hitter, a guy that can give you 12 to 15 home runs. He can steal bases. I used to say it every year when he was with the Dodgers. You know, how Furcal goes, so goes the Dodgers. And I think that is going to be the case this year with St. Louis.
Base hit into center field by Furcal. So after collecting a total of 1 hit through the front 4 innings, Cardinals now have 3 hits of the last 6 that have come to the plate. Time to take a look at our Jeep game summary, and the story has been pitching in a 1-0 game. Corey Hart, a home run to lead off the 2nd inning. Greinke has now allowed 3 Cardinal hits. I keep forgetting they charged Weeks for an error. And even more surprised they haven't changed it. Beltran has struck out and bounced out to the mound. It's amazing to think the Cardinals last year, as you mentioned earlier, led the league in runs. But their leadoff hitter scored just a total of 81 runs on the year. That's the lowest total among all leadoff batters among all teams in the National League. So if they get a big year out of Furcal, mercy, mercy. Pujols or no Pujols, look out.
Well, and I think that's where the difference lies. Obviously, you're getting Pujols out of here. So where can you improve? You can improve in that leadoff spot. Furcal in his first 2 ball games this year looked like Furcal we saw in Atlanta many years ago.
In the dirt, and he got a great read. Lucroy kept it in front of him, but Furcal immediately took off and slides in safely, and he's now the tying run in scoring position.
But you see, Furcal gets a good secondary, and if you've got speed, and even if you don't, if you can get a good read on a pitch that looks like it's going to bounce, even if the catcher fields it cleanly or keeps it in front, it's still going to be tough to throw out a moving runner.
1-2, the count on Beltran. A base hit could tie it. He barely makes contact. Greinke's had great stuff all day, but he has saved some of his best through the first 2+ at bats against Beltran. Chase to pitch up in the zone. It remains 1-2. Greinke knocking on the door of 80 pitches in the game. That's a very good total. Not a great total, but pretty doggone good here in the 6th inning.
Well, he was cruising along those first 4 innings. 10, 11 pitches. He ran into a bit of a buzzsaw in the 5th. And
he went around. Boy, Beltran just up there in survival mode with some of the stuff being featured by Greinke. Right now, let's go to Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studio.
Hey, Tommy, earlier we wanted Brewer fans to look away. Cardinal fans, close your eyes on this one. Albert's first hit is an angel. It really hasn't bothered Luke Hochevar, however. Pujols would be thrown out trying to score by Alex Gordon later in the inning. Royals trying to even up their season-opening series in L.A. Tom, back to you and EK.
Thank you, Matt. What I read last year, Alex Gordon had 20 outfield assists. And there's a chopper. Ramirez on the short hop. And the inning is over. So a hit by for a call, but he's left in scoring position. Still 1-0 Milwaukee. On Fox, presented by Chevrolet. Cardinals playing their 3rd game. One on Wednesday night down at the brand new ballpark of the Miami Marlins on Wednesday night, had an off day Thursday, beat the Brewers in their inaugural game of this 2012 season here yesterday. And today, much like we expected, Zach Greinke against Adam Wainwright. And sure, there's a question about Wainwright having not pitched in a game in over a year and a half, coming back from elbow surgery, but he appears to be on his game. He's only given up the one solo home run. This appears to be a very important inning for Wainwright. Top of the order for the Brewers. Victor Marte getting loose in the bullpen. No action in the Milwaukee pen. Now, there is one guy who is looking dead red, and of course most are on 3-1. You get a pitch up in a strike zone, a fastball to Weeks, 3-1, and he will kill it.
You're going to get a slider, huh?
Yeah.
Nope, he got the fastball.
What away.
Well, Wainwright, the out pitch for him today has been the slider or the curveball. You know, 3-2 right now. You've always got to look fastball, but right now, if I'm up there hitting, I'm thinking there's a slider coming, some sort of off speed.
Weeks has struck out in each of his first 2 at bats today. 3-2 here. Base hit. Wainwright has fanned 6.
Well, and we talked about it. Breaking ball, breaking ball, breaking ball, breaking ball, breaking ball. And he's done a real nice job today. You know, just the one mistake to Corey Hart, and that was really an issue of location. But he's had the Brewer hitters. He's enticed them to go after the breaking pitch. And they haven't been good swings. I was a little surprised right there, 3-2, that he didn't go breaking ball to Ricky Weeks.
Well, now will Morgan be bunting. Freese is pulled in at third. Of course, Wainwright dominating the Brewers is nothing new. All time, he holds the lowest career ERA against the Brewers. Beautifully put down by Morgan, and it's dropped by Descalso, and everybody's safe. Probably would give him a sacrifice and then charge Descalso for an error.
Yeah, it looks like Descalso almost overruns the bag. He watches left foot. It goes behind the bag. The other thing, too, Adam Wainwright, right there, you'd like to see, especially as a guy covering first, you'd like to see an underhand toss right there. You see Descalso, his foot is behind the bag. That put him in an awkward position. He couldn't move back out to the inside part of the field where the throw was.
And that's why they ended up giving the error to the pitcher.
Anytime you're at first base, whether you're the second baseman covering or you're playing first base and you're receiving a throw from the pitcher and something like that where he's moving towards the bag, the minute he goes overhand, it's because you don't know how hard he's going to throw it, and it's much easier to receive a ball underhand. It's just, you know, guys don't practice it a lot. They're not comfortable underhanding the ball.
Well, Marte is ready in the Cardinal bullpen. Derek Lilliquist, who of course is taking over where Dave Duncan is a pitching coach. Dave taking a leave to be with his wife out in Arizona. We certainly send our thoughts and prayers to her. Duncan regarded by many, if not the best, one of the best pitching coaches in the history of baseball. 2-1 for Ryan Braun. Breaking ball swung on and missed.
Well, we just saw that strikeout package, and all of those were breaking balls to finish guys off. And that's been the pitch that's given Brewer hitters a lot of difficulty today. Wainwright in a tough spot here. Starts Braun off with a breaking ball. And if he throws him a fastball, it's going to be out of the zone. No way you could throw him a fastball for a strike.
And it began with a base hit in the center field by Weeks. Morgan put down a bunt. Reaches safely at first on the error by Wainwright. 2 on, none out for the reigning National League's most valuable player. Who falls behind 1-2.
See, he ran that fastball up and in on Braun. Unable to catch up with it. Again, I'd be very surprised if he throws a fastball for a strike. If he does, he's got to go out of the zone with the fastball. If I'm throwing right now or I'm Molina catching, get 2 or 3 breaking balls.
Ball down the left field line towards the corner and foul. Got the breaking ball and Braun went down to get it.
Ahead in the count, 1-2. You don't necessarily need to throw a strike. Then again, you're going against the reigning National League MVP. Braun doing a nice job of going down and getting it. I'd flip him up a curveball again.
Double play ball here. There's 1 and there's 2. That pitch devoured the bat of Braun. Weeks down to third.
You see, this is a fastball that Braun offered at earlier in the count. He's out of the zone, in. But Wainwright did not throw a fastball for a strike.
Now Aramis Ramirez. With a runner at third and 2 out. And even though he's not Prince Fielder, as you brought up earlier, this guy has always been an extremely dangerous hitter, especially with runners on base. He has come up with a lot of big 2-out RBIs in his career.
Well, he's always been a run producer, and if he just takes that same mentality, he'll be fine. But if he starts thinking he's got to replace somebody and be the superstar, he's going to have trouble.
Well, look, you know the nature of the game. I mean, these are the kind of at-bats when you join a new team, and you may not be playing the same position. You might just be hitting in that same spot in the batting order. But these are the at-bats that they're paying a lot of attention to.
Well, the expectations are he's got to produce. And for the Brewers to be successful, Aramis Ramirez is going to have to pick up Ryan Braun. You know, earlier in this game, Aramis came up with a man on third. Ryan Braun grounded back to the pitcher. And another time with Ryan Braun on base, ended up striking out. Here, guy on third. Another opportunity.
Two and one the count. Fouled back out of play. We're even.
Wainwright doing a good job this inning of getting in on the hands of the right-handed hitters. He's throwing that fastball. It continues to run in. It's off the plate, but it entices the guys to go after it. You think you can get it as a hitter, but all you're getting is a handle of the bat.
Don't forget, next Saturday, NASCAR on Fox heads to Texas, going to the lights in prime time. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Split Cup Series racing presented by Farmers Live from the Texas Motor Speedway. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific next week. That ball driven, and Ramirez delivers this time. RBI double, 2-0 Brewers.
Well, Brewer fans hope to see a lot of this. That's Aramis Ramirez driving in. The runner with 2 out. That's a curveball, just hung right in the middle of the plate. Well, there's a pitching change. Adam Wainwright, a great job. We'll be 2-0 Brewers. We'll be back in a minute.
Missing all of last year following elbow surgery. Goes 5 2/3, allows 4 hits, a couple of runs so far, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. And now taking over is Victor Marte, just brought up yesterday from AAA Memphis, taking the spot of Scott Linebrink, who was DL'd with some soreness in his right shoulder. Marte had a great spring. Couple of saves, ERA under 1. Came over from the Royals last April and spent all of last year where he led the Pacific Coast League with 31 saves.
You see he just rears back and throws it. Got a pretty good slider as well. Just another power arm Mike Matheny can bring out of this Cardinal bullpen.
Marte's been around a while. He's 31 years old. That ball is clobbered to straightaway center field, and it is gone. Corey Hart proving spring training perhaps is way overrated. Played in 2 games, the last 2. And today, he's hit 2 into the seats. Twelfth game in his career, Corey Hart has hit 2 or more home runs in a game. Matt Gamble, first pitch swinging, pops it up for call is there. We said it would be a big inning with a top of the order coming up, and it turns into a big one indeed. 3 runs for the Brewers, extending the lead to 4-0. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. Four 4-0 deficit. Carlos Gomez takes over in center field. They'll push Niger Morgan over into right. And after hitting 2 home runs in the game, Corey Hart will sit and watch the final 3. Story today has been Greinke on the mound. He's only allowed 3 base hits. Was only really in trouble in that 5th inning. Allowed an infield hit. John Jay reached on an error, but he got Descalso on a ground out to retire the side. This one on the ground off the bat of Berkman. And with that in mind, you take a look at our in-game box score brought to you by Lexus. Not a lot of noise.
No, not at all. A lot of zeros. And Not so much the Cardinal hitters, but more of a function of what Zach Greinke has to offer today. You know, and he's going to be interesting to watch this year. This is another storyline. A free agent at the end of the year has put up historically some of the top numbers in the National League. You know, will the Brewers try to sign him? There's talk between his agent, Doug Melvin. He's not a guy that said, hey, season starts, we're not talking. But this is something that the Brewers are going to have to address. And really, you know, Zach Greinke, does he want to go to a large market? Do you chase the payday? Or do you stay in Milwaukee?
We're going to look at Doug Melvin, Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's done a very good job here. Tell you, with some of the deals, and we saw them starting during the offseason, I don't think the Pujols deal surprised a lot of people. That's on the ground of weeks, and Freese finally retired for the first time. But really, the Prince Fielder deal, I think, stunned a lot of people, especially the number of years on that deal. Of course, Joey Votto locked up to a 10-year extension beyond 2 years of a contract he has already with the Reds. But then you look at a guy like Matt Cain. Now, everybody universally agrees that Matt Cain has great stuff, a really good pitcher. I don't know if you would define him as a great pitcher. You're talking about a pitcher who in his entire career is under 500. Now, some might say, well, that's not his fault. The Giants couldn't score any runs. Well, you might be right about that. But they haven't been terrible on offense his entire career, and yet he gets that kind of a contract. So for guys around baseball that have numbers that say I'm 15, I'm 18, I'm 22, I'm 30 games over 500, a whole new animal perhaps has been created after that deal given by the Giants.
Well, you know, I think you have to look at each deal and look at it separately. It's easy to compare and say, well, if this guy got X, then this guy's worth 2X. But Matt Cain, for instance, this is a guy that he doesn't. The reality is he gets 0 run support. He's a durable pitcher. He's young. I'll tell you what, Zach Greinke was happy Matt Cain signed that deal.
presented by the 2012 Ford F-150 built Ford Tough. And by One-on-One My Website, where creating a business website is easy. Bernie Brewer and the hometown crowd certainly more pleased than where they were roughly about this time yesterday after initially jumping ahead 2-0. Cardinals hit 3 home runs in the 3rd inning, 4 in a game, en route to a 12-5 win. But that was against Giovanni Gallardo. Today against Zach Greinke, an entirely different tale. 3 hits, no runs, and Greinke is fanned 7. Francisco Rodriguez beginning to crank it up, which certainly would indicate the day is over for Greinke. 7 strong. Have a seat.
Yeah, it looks like he's on the verge of another home win. Dominant today, though. Kept the Cardinal hitters off balance. Didn't issue any walks. And the strikes he threw were strikes on the corner. They weren't strikes that were really hittable strikes.
Greinke due up 3rd here in the inning and showing no signs of making his way to find a helmet and grab a bat. We brought up earlier the Brewers last year on the 4th of July. They lost a game where they had a lead after the 7th inning. They would not lose another game in such fashion the remainder of the year. And of course, the 2 primary reasons for that, Rodriguez and John Axford, their closer. Gonzalez, a fly ball to left, and 1 out. Well, now it's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. Just as the Brewers can count on the duo of Rodriguez and Axford, you too can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Axford, the roll age relief man of the year, blew just 2 of his 48 save tries. And of course, Rodriguez, a great closer in his day with Anaheim.
You know, I think the fact that Rodriguez has accepted his role as a setup guy, especially after coming over in a trade with the Mets, you know, it has really bolstered this bullpen. Because again, I think he still believes that he has closer stuff, and quite frankly, he does. But now he's the elite setup guy. Serves at the back end of one of the best bullpens in the game. And I'm speaking of the 8th and 9th.
You know, it was such a weird journey to get Rodriguez in this position, who had a no trade clause in his contract, but he was in the process of changing agents. He wound up being traded, of course, from the Mets to the Brewers, and then openly complained about not getting the chance to save a few games once he got here. Well, he was the one who made the decision to accept salary arbitration from the club during the offseason. And Ron Renicky said by him accepting that salary arbitration, he is accepting the terms under which he will come back this year, and that is as a setup man. It's kind of like what Ozzie Guillen told Hanley Ramirez. You're moving over to third base now that we have Jose Reyes. You can go there angry, or you can go there happy. The choice is yours. Hanley and the Marlins have lost each of their first 2 games, falling to the Cardinals, and then They were shut out 2 days ago in Cincinnati. 2 away in the inning. I'd like to tell you, it's not too late to play fantasy baseball at foxsports.com. Be a part of the action all summer long. Fox Sports offers both daily and weekly games. Easy and 100% free. Join today, play against other baseball fans. Heck, create your own league at foxsports.com/fantasy. Are you a fantasy baseball guy? Yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay.
One fantasy league 1 year back when I was still playing.
Really?
NFL, yeah, an NFL fantasy.
How'd you do?
I won the league without making any transactions. Kurt Warner, running back. Jim Kelly. Herman Moore. I still remember those guys. Kurt Warner was a running back for the Seahawks. No
You fooled a lot of people there when you said that.
I was like the Homer Simpson. I retire on top. Take it to the house.
Hey. Travis Ishikawa, first year in the Brewers uniform, coming up there to bat. Batting for Zach Greinke. 7 innings of 3 hits shutout baseball here today. Mentioned he was unbeaten in this ballpark last season. In 15 starts, 11-0. Which is the longest home winning streak ever by a Brewer pitcher.
How about if you're the Cardinals and you get to start out with Josh Johnson in Miami, you get Gallardo yesterday and Greinke today. I mean, that's 3 number ones to start the year. That's not a lot of fun.
No, but you got to feel real good if you end up even 2-1.
Yeah,
and
no,
they're
I
not
hear
done
you.
with this one yet.
Mike Matheny. You know, speaking with him prior to the game, I mean, he reminds me a lot of Mike Scioscia of the Angels. Just his mannerisms, the way he talks about the game. You know, has some humor in his conversation too, but very serious.
Well, they really grew up roughly in the same neck of the woods. I mean, what, Scioscia, Pennsylvania guy, a border state, no more than probably an hour and a half ride from Matheny's hometown in the middle of Ohio at Columbus. Ishikawa gone swinging, and that'll end the inning. So we move to the 8th. 4-0 Brewers. Bullpen comes on for Milwaukee. And now they'll hand the ball to the one-time closer with the Angels and the Mets, Francisco Rodriguez.
Yeah, just filthy. The fastball, the curveball, doesn't throw quite as hard. It's funny. In 2004, I was with the Oakland A's. I was at the end of my career, but I remember facing him one time, and that's when I knew it was over.
Really?
Just zero chance. Yeah. First pitch was a curveball, and I'm buckling, not knowing, and it was a strike. I stepped out. I said, whoa, okay. Next pitch was a fastball, and I swung after I think it hit the catcher's glove. And I'm standing there thinking, why am I still playing? What am I doing out here? And I'm sure there were a lot of people in the Oakland dugout that thought the same thing. One pitch later, that was enough.
Of course, Billy Beane was watching from a treadmill.
He was in the exercise room. There's absolutely no doubt. Probably screaming at the TV, wondering why he signed me.
John Jay leading off the Cardinals' 8th inning. 1-1 the count. Descalso next. And then a pinch hitter for Marte. This Cardinal team, there is plenty of thunder in this lineup. You don't plan on batting in the 8th inning down 4-0. And you're not going to make a good living under that scenario. But they are more than capable. And it begins with a roller. And we'll wait on a scoring decision. It looked like maybe if Rodriguez picks it up with a bare hand, he has a chance. Although Jay runs pretty well.
So he gets down there. He doesn't quite get to the ball. Whenever the ball's like that, what you want to do is get on top of it and press it into the ground. You press it into the ground, the ball has nowhere to go. You try to scoop it or pick it up by the side, it can squirt away or get out of your fingertips, but use the ground as a barrier.
That'll be scored, an infield hit. All 4 Cardinal hits, singles. Brewers have 5 hits, but 4 of the 5 extra base hits, including the 2 home runs by Corey Hart. Double play ball here. And it's dropped at second base, and they are saying in the exchange the runner is safe. I don't know if Mike Matheny will necessarily agree with that call. Although he will not come out to argue from a dugout.
Well, that's the transfer interpretation. Just tough to call, but you see where Gonzalez drops it when he's bringing it down by his waist. Now, you know what? That ball kind of shot up the top of the web. I'm not so sure that he ever had full control of that.
Now the Cardinals go to their bench. Young man who had a spectacular spring in Matt Carpenter. Rookie on the opening day roster for the first time, led the team with 20 hits. Down in Florida, he was their minor league player of the year in 2010. Hit off the end of the bat. 2 out.
Go back to that ball Descalso hit. Now watch Gonzalez. See how the ball, it almost snow cones. And I'm not so sure that he ever had control of that ball. It's not one of those ones where he's trying to be quick and get it out of his glove. That ball just kept crawling up to the top of the web. I mean, that's a tough call to make. But you look at that ball as it just keeps edging out, and as he brings it down, it shoots out of his glove.
Runner at first, 2 are out for a call, who's 1 of 3. Breaking ball in there, strike. Cardinals with 4 outs to play with, trailing by 4 here in the 8th inning. On the appeal, he did not go around. 2-1 for a call.
See, for call just holds up.
Of course, the Cardinals hoping that Furcal can find a way to get aboard, because you've got 4 or 5 guys consecutively capable of leaving the yard coming up following the Cardinal shortstop. Starting with Carlos Beltran.
That's a tough pitch. You know, if Zach Greinke's out on the mound and he's been demonstrating great control, he gets that pitch. But you know, Frankie Rodriguez hasn't exactly been pinpoint, and as a hitter, when the pitcher gets a call like that.
3-2 to count on for a call. Right down the can, and he knew it. Full of compromise. Time to take a peek at our in-game box score, brought to you by Lexus. Mentioned only 5 hits for the Brewers, but 4 of them extra base hits, including the man who has been taken out of the game and did most of the damage. That'd be Corey Hart. He had a pair of home runs, solo blast in the 2nd inning, and a 2-run shot in the 6th. So the Cardinals will now go again to their bullpen and bring out Fernando Salas. Youngster had 24 saves a season ago. One of multiple closers used by the Cardinals. Their bullpen was really a mess. They led the league in blown saves. And then the same cast of characters by and large, outside of a change here and a change there, along with a trade with Toronto, put it all together for September and in the postseason. And that's why going into this year, there are a lot of people that are still a little bit skeptical about this St. Louis bullpen. Is it the bullpen that was so good late, or more like the bullpen through the first 5 months of the year?
Well, they had some more defined roles in September and October, but they were also hot. Again, you know, we talk about it all the time. It's not necessarily the best team in any sport that wins a championship. It's usually the hottest team. And especially when you're getting into these sort of things with baseball, more so than probably any other sport, is you can get on a run for a month and win the whole thing.
Cardinals with a wild card, won 90 games last year, clinched a playoff spot the final day of the regular season after trailing the Atlanta Braves on August the 24th by 10.5 games, and wound up winning the franchise's 11th World Championship, and this one is crushed by Weeks. Nothing Milwaukee.
Well, the All-Star second baseman has as quick a hands as anybody in the game. He gets that bat head out there, drives it to left center. This is another guy. He can stay healthy the entire year. He's one of those guys that can help replace Prince Fielder. Again, nobody's going to do it by themselves, but a little bit more production at third. A healthy Weeks, some production from Gamble at first. You can fill the void.
Two 2-0 on Niger Morgan. 0 for 2 in the game as a sacrifice. Jose Veras, who came over in a deal from the Pirates, starting to crank it up. Not a save situation with a 5-run lead here in the 8th. Axford, the Canadian-born closer, took a long time his journey to get him to the major leagues. And once he got his chance, he's made the most of it here in Milwaukee.
Ron Renicky mentioned a great job last year in his first year as manager of the Brewers. You know, interesting talking to him before the game, and you know, we were asking him about his preparation for the game and what he does and how he goes about things. And he says he spends a lot of his time not necessarily going over strategies, but talking to guys. You know, he'll find some time and maybe go talk to Ryan Braun about things, what's going on, and you know, trying to stay positive if guys are struggling, trying to figure out ways that he can help them get back to having success. And I think that's an illustration of really what managing has become. It's not so much the strategy or the outwitting of somebody or reinventing the game, but it's being able to gain the confidence of your players, to put them in positions to succeed, to do what you can to put them in the best position to go out and help the ball club.
We brought up earlier, personality-wise, how Mike Matheny reminded you of Mike Scioscia. You know, of course, Renicky was sitting there for nearly 10 years as part of Mike Scioscia's coaching staff. Joe Madden was on that staff. That was one very, very impressive operation they were running and continue to run out there. But when they had that group together, they had so many good teams. A team that won a world championship, of course, in 2002.
Well, look, I think Mike Scioscia is the best manager in the game. Overall, I think he's the best. When you're talking about gaining the respect of the players, running a game strategically, I think he is the best all-around manager. But when you get back to talking about Ron Renicky coaching with him or Joe Madden, I think all of those guys benefited one another. It wasn't just Mike Scioscia teaching these guys. I think Mike Scioscia learned a lot being around guys like Joe Madden and Ron Renicky.
I think a lot of people forget, because he's made such an unbelievable impact down in Tampa Bay, that Madden appeared to be one of those guys who was going to be a lifelong Angels guy. He had had all those jobs with them through their minor league system for over 20 years. Managerial change after managerial change. He would be the survivor, oftentimes the lone survivor. I think you bring up a great point. I bet you that Mike Scioscia would tell you he learned every bit as much from Joe Madden as perhaps Joe Madden learned from him.
And, I think that's what successful people do, is that they acknowledge the fact that they don't know everything and that they're willing to listen and willing to learn.
3-2 on Braun. 1 of 2 in the game. Counts into a double play with 2 on and nobody out his last time up. But was bailed out on the big hit by Aramis Ramirez. Corey Hart then followed with a 2-run home run. And what turned out to be a 3-run 6th inning, taking a 1-0 game to a 4-0 game.
Well, we talked about it at the top of the show that the Cardinals were going to have to contain the middle of this Brewers lineup. And we mentioned yesterday that, we mentioned in yesterday's game, Ramirez and Hart and Braun a combined 0 for 11. Today, there was some thunder in the middle of that lineup. Some big hits, guys getting on base.
3-2 to Ryan Braun. We'll do it again. Nine pitches thus far during this at bat. And here comes number 10 from Salas. Lined off the wall. So after going hitless yesterday, a 2-hit day for Braun. Take a peek ahead to Fox Saturday Baseball a week from today. We'll get another look at these Cardinals. They'll be in St. Louis to take on the Cubs. Some will see the Angels and Yankees. Albert goes to New York. 2-time American League pennant-winning Rangers are in Minnesota. And again, a special start time with NASCAR on Saturday night. We start at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, 9:30 Pacific. Now Ramirez. Salas really struggling here in this 8th inning. Gives up a home run to Weeks. Strikes out Morgan. Gives up a rocket off the bat of Braun. And already set to deliver his 27th pitch of the inning. J.C. Romero, a first-year Cardinal, getting loose in the bullpen. We look at this National League Central, and Eric, you touched on it earlier. In your opinion, it appears to be 3 teams that will slug it out, which has really been the story the last 2 years in the Central, among the trio of St. Louis, Milwaukee, and Cincinnati. Lou Ramirez away on a fastball, and there are 2 outs in the inning. You can make an argument for any of the 3. All certainly have plenty of strengths. And really all 3 have very few weaknesses. I think you could make an argument that they might turn out to be 3 of the top 4 or 5 teams in the National League before the season is over.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I will say that you could make an argument for any of the 3 teams. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it. They all have areas where they can be got.
That ball crushed off the bat of Gomez in his first time up. 7th extra base hit for the Brewers in a game, and it's 6-0. Matheny coming to get Salas. Young Fernando Salas hit hard. And now it's Romero to try and put the 8th inning to bed. Left-hander J.C. Romero comes on to try and get the final out. Facing left-handed batting Matt Gamble here in a 2-run 8th inning. Romero made his Cardinal debut, allowed a couple of hits here yesterday. Made over 660 appearances in the last decade. And that's more than any other active left-hander. And I were talking in between innings, Eric. You know, this Brewer team, and you give them credit, they won 96 games last year, third most in all of Major League Baseball. But in this ballpark, they are an entirely different cat.
They really are. Offensively, it's a great place to hit. But I think just the environment here. I think as a player, you're coming here with all these fans. As you mentioned, this place, they get up in between innings, they're dancing. There's a ton of energy in here. Not an easy place to play if you're a visitor.
They were a whopping 33 games over 500 here at Miller Park a year ago. The best in the National League in over 30 years. They were a sub 500 team on the road. 39 wins, 42 losses. Nice pickup by Descalso on a sharply hit ground ball. Inning over. 2 more runs. Cardinals bat the ninth. Down 6. Inning would give the ball to Saito or LaTroy Hawkins. Well, Ron Renicky told us before the game today he thinks they upgraded in that area. Now he's pitching the 9th inning here today, Jose Veras. But just to get a little work here in a 6-0 game. Had a good year with the Pirates. Hey! Carlos Beltran to be followed in the Cardinal 9th inning by Matt Holliday and then Lance Berkman. Been a rough day today for Beltran. He was really worked over by Greinke. Of course, Greinke worked over everybody.
No, he really did. He kept everybody off balance. You know, speaking about Beltran against Greinke, 2 strikeouts and a ground ball back to Greinke. You have those days, though. As a hitter, you just got to grind through them. You put it behind you.
You have that kind of day?
Oh, man.
Well, I've never known it based on the way you talk at dinner.
More often than not.
Come on.
You know what the thing is a hitter, all you're up there trying to do when you're going through something like that is eke out a walk, a sacrifice fly. What you don't want to do, and it's very easy to do, is you just give up at bats. You know, especially in a game like this, it's 6-0. But what you want to do is go out there, do something productive so you can carry it into tomorrow's game. You're playing for tomorrow right now, trying to get in the right frame of mind.
It's a rather lengthy trip when you consider that you were in one city for only one game to begin this year for the Cardinals. Had the one game in Miami. Then they flew here at an off day, 3-game series in Milwaukee. They will leave here tomorrow and play another division rival, Cincinnati, in Cincinnati, starting Monday.
They did win the World Series last year, right? Is that what you get for winning a World Series? Take that. Go get some travel and go face some aces. Go play the entire National League Central or whatever it is. Where you got 27 straight games against the National League Central.
We'll be there at Busch Stadium next Saturday here on Fox for the Cubs and the Cardinals. Beltran out to start the 9th. Here's today's Burger King smooth play of the day. It was a smooth outing for Zach Greinke.
You know, looking at this package right here, look at where all these strikes are. I mean, it's nothing over the middle of the plate. Ron Renicky has to be thrilled with that outing.
Hey, no, the one thing I think you really appreciate about Renicky, and it's not to say there aren't other guys out there, but you know, in a day and age where you get so much manager speak, coach speak, whatever you want to call it, you know, you ask about a topic and it's just complete avoidance. I love Renicky when you asked him today, you know, did you talk to Ryan Braun? Did you talk to Zach Greinke about impending free agency? He said, you better believe I talked to him. He said, those are the things that those guys are thinking about. And those are the things I'm going to talk to them about because I know they're thinking about it.
Well, and that's the thing. He's trying to get his guys in the right frame of mind, go out, be able to play the game. You know, he's not sitting there being bogged down by all these statistics and what guys are doing. And no, there's definitely a place for it, but there's also a place for getting guys to feel good about themselves, to concentrate on what's going on out on the field. And then the numbers will take care of themselves.
So now this crowd, another big crowd, another sellout crowd. Anticipating the final out of the afternoon in the Brewers' first win, and it's their second game of the year. So now the Cardinals are down to their final strike. One ball, 2 strikes to Lance Berkman, and Veras turns it loose. Broken bat, but a base hit into left center. Like to remind you that coming up tonight on Fox, nonstop action on all new Cops. Part of a full hour. Then Booth and Bones investigate a killer tornado. It's Bones on a special night. It all starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tonight on Fox. Freeze another 2-hit day. Single in the left in the second, infield hit in the fifth. We've tried to touch it all here today. As Eric talked about right from the start, a lot going on for these two teams, not only in the offseason. Prince Fielder leaving. Ryan Braun suspended. That was overturned. Cardinals, after 16 years, have a new manager. Mike Matheny replacing Tony La Russa. Dave Duncan no longer here, nor is Albert Pujols. Adam Wainwright comes back for the first time since September of 2010 to start a game. So a lot happening, and it's only the first weekend.
Well, and I'll say, I think we learned that Adam Wainwright looked darn good. We'll see how he comes out of it tomorrow and the next day, how he's feeling.
This ought to do it. Gamble, and that's out. Pitching dominated ball game. They combined 5-hitter. 7 innings of 3-hit shutout baseball from Greinke. Rodriguez scoreless inning. Veras a scoreless inning in a 6-0 win. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Chevrolet looks ahead to next weekend. The Cubs and these very same Cardinals. Some will see the Angels and the Yankees, others the Rangers and the Twins. Coverage begins at a special time, 12:30 Eastern. Next week, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing returns in Texas. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. Eastern next Saturday night. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. For more information on this game and the latest in Major League Baseball, log on to foxsports.com on MSN, the world's #1 sports site. So we'll look forward to seeing you again next weekend from St. Louis. For Eric Karros and our entire Fox crew, I'm Tom Brenneman saying thanks so much for joining us. And happy Easter to all tomorrow. Have a great night and a great weekend.